issues that apply to the LGBTQ community and also put a local spin. We're also introducing the Embrace Media segment, which is on-air radio like we're doing today, and the TV program that we're going to be introducing in January. So very excited about these changes. And that's all about business growth, right, Kevin?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So what I wanted to start with today is a little overview of our three guests so that our listeners know a little bit more about them. Kevin, in the business issue, we introduced the CEP as well as the GSBA, which is the Greater Seattle Business Alliance, and what both chambers are doing across the country to help their local, members. And the CEP was awarded last year in 2020 the Chamber of the Year by the Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Tell us about what you've accomplished this past year and the programs you have.
So, John, thank you so much. It's good to be on with you. Good to be seeing the continued success that Embrace is having. So congratulations. Always glad to see a local business that is doing well and producing what is a great-looking publication. So kudos to you for that. The CEP, we are the Chamber of Commerce, sometimes with our unique name that throws people off, but we are the chamber for the Ocala Metro.
Yes.
And for us, that is the metropolitan area has been defined as all of Marion County. And so our focus is on being a catalyst for a prosperous community and doing that through the business community.
Wonderful.
And so that's our focus. We seek to be the voice of the business community, and everything we do comes back to business. And so for us, the recognition by ACCE, our national association, really is how we're operating differently and really impacting what we call our partners, but our members in a significant way. And so, one of the things we're always trying to do is how do we ensure that everyone in our community has the opportunity for prosperity?
Yes.
How do we advance that? And so we have, in the last 18 months, kicked off a couple of new initiatives around that front. One of those is our Sphere initiative. We believe that we can grow the healthcare segment of our local economy to be a major contributor. It already is a major contributor, but we can really round that out and create more opportunities broadly. So we have Aaron Jones on our team that leads that effort. And the other new initiative we kicked off 18 months ago was Impact.
Yes.
And we began working, actually now, probably almost 5 years ago, looking at the data on our community. And as we did that, we realized there were pockets that were not experiencing the same growth, the same opportunity as other areas. And what we could find is that in particular, when we looked at our three majority minority communities of West Ocala, Silver Spring Shores, and Marion Oaks, the income levels were lower than the county at large. The personal wealth, household wealth, was significantly lower. The number of jobs per capita was lower, and the access to businesses was lower. And so that means that individuals in those communities didn't have the same access to goods and services. And we really spent a lot of time trying to understand that, research that. A lot of that becomes very, is it this? Is it because of location? Is it because of race? Is it some other issue? Why is this? Is it education? And it almost doesn't matter because it is. So what can we do to address that? And again, we believe that we believe in the free enterprise system, and that when entrepreneurs have a chance to engage, and knowing that entrepreneurship is a skill, that people can learn to be an entrepreneur, they can learn those skills, we can address issues of wealth, we can address issues of inequality, and we can ensure that everyone in our community has a chance for prosperity. And so Impact is really focused on deriving entrepreneurship training and access to those communities.
Wonderful. And we did talk about in the article the partnerships that we have with the CEP, as well as the programs, and initiative was Impact. Was a big part of that. How is the direct programs working for entrepreneurs, like the course that was offered there 12 weeks, and who are the groups that it's helping?
Yeah, so Impact is actually, I have to be honest, has taken off far greater than we anticipated. The response to it has been really, really strong. And we've worked over the years to develop, I think, pretty good relationships in West Ocala. We expected a good response there. I think the one that caught us off guard was the response from the Hispanic business community, in particular in Silver Spring Shores. They really were excited. They were excited to be engaged. And so that's been a really cool aspect of this. We have assisted to date I think it's close to 600 entrepreneurs over the last 18 months through that program. And two of them are sitting here, right? um, and through Fast Track, we do a couple different things. We do one-on-one assistance. Back when it started in March of 2020, we did a lot of work with helping businesses access PPP loans, EIDL loans, and grants really in both those cases. Microenterprise, we ran the microenterprise programs, loans, grants for the city and the county. But the training piece is so key. So we run what is called the Fast Track program. It's a 10-week program for 3 hours a week. It's from the Kauffman Foundation, which is the largest supporter of entrepreneurship in the world. They provide the materials to us, and we have the license. To date, we may be the most active Fast Track trainer in the country. We have our 6th cohort right now that's getting ready to wrap up this year. And our goal is to run 6 of those a year. It's a great way. If you complete that program, you really have gotten your entrepreneurship 101.
Yes.
We're looking to expand that. We run for the city of Ocala. When you complete the Fast Track program, that qualifies you as a certified diverse small business enterprise, which allows you to compete for their set-aside contracts.
Okay.
And so we've had several now of those graduates who've been able to pick up city contracts and grow their businesses. And we've started a minority construction mentorship program. We're really looking at how we continue to expand that out. It's got some very exciting things we're going to be coming down the pike with in 2022.
All right.
We can talk more about that later.
Yes.
But really excited again about how we look at ways to provide access to training.
Yes.
And then next phase is access to more capital for entrepreneurs in general, but in particular in those targeted communities.
Thank you, Kevin. Lots of great stuff to help success for businesses, including LGBTQ businesses, which we will talk about that later. But I want to go to one of my other guests now and talk about a success in business. We have Charlie Lapson, who in the past has represented the Miss Universe pageant with his jewelry collection, as well as other programs. So I'm going to turn to Charlie Lapson and have him introduce himself and tell him what he's doing with his jewelry business.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm here in Hollywood, California, and it's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
My business is basically based all over the country and all over the world, but I'm split between Los Angeles and Miami. So I'm a Florida resident as well. And currently, we are working on the next Miss Universe pageant. So when you were kind enough to feature me in the business issue, we were talking about the last Miss Universe pageant, which was beautifully represented. So thank you for having us in the magazine.
Absolutely.
And right now we're getting ready for styling up beautiful women from around the world. And when I'm not doing that, I'm very busy making everybody else in America shine and sparkle.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit about the work with the Nuestra Belleza Latina and Telemundo realities.
Yeah, so there are a lot of TV shows that we all watch, and everybody has a different take on it. Right now, Nuestra Belleza Latina and Así Se Baila, there are two different shows, one on Univision, one on Telemundo. They're reality shows about basically beauty pageants. One is a beauty pageant, one is a dancing show, similar to Dancing with the Stars. So you'll find my jewelry on that. That's a really great way of watching a fun TV show that goes on for 3 months. Both of them are 3 months. In Los Angeles, I'm working on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and then also Dancing with the Stars here. So I'm juggling 6 different TV shows all at once.
Busy guy. And some of your proceeds goes to help groups, do they not?
Yes. So one thing that is very important for me, it was ingrained in me from my young childhood years, was to always give back in whatever form possible. Sometimes it's about writing a check and helping out, but sometimes it's getting involved with the various communities. Here in Los Angeles, I work with various programs for children, for people getting back on their feet again, getting back into the workforce. In Florida, I also work with another organization based in Miami and South Florida that helps people get back on their feet. I think this is really important. It's not just about helping people when they're already on stage, but
Mm-hmm.
it's about getting them ready for the stage. So
Absolutely.
if they might have had a little bit of a fallback, it's time to get them back on track
Mm-hmm.
and help them shine.
Yes. And Charlie, you were instrumental in helping us get one of our stories for our advocacy issue on the Project Angel Foods in Los Angeles. Thank you for that one. That was a very great story to cover there, and came out very well. We actually got some very positive feedback from the organization, so thank you.
You're very welcome. It's a very important organization, and again, spreading light on these groups that do good deeds for people really just helps all of us come together as a country, as people.
Absolutely. For our readers who are not familiar with Project Angel Food in Los Angeles, began helping get food to people who could not get access themselves, in particular HIV patients. And then it blossomed from there so that it included other groups, but it did begin with the LGBTQ base and has grown tremendously in helping that community. So again, thank you. And I also want to talk to our other guest, Thomas Carlucci. Is he there?
I am here.
Okay, wonderful, Thomas. Thank you for joining us today. In a business issue, we talked about the development of your new Rome resort, which is still in development, I believe. And so we're delighted to hear about what you have to say about the resort, what you plan to do with it, and what the status is right now.
Sure. Okay, so let me start this way. We're designing a community-centric and respect-based property that consists of numerous venues, spaces, allowing for a broad variety of entertainment across several genres to be offered to the over 100,000 LGBTQ folks that we have here in the Tampa Bay area. And the thousands that visit Florida, on an annual basis. I think of Rome more as an entertainment complex, just as much as it is a hotel resort complex.
Fantastic. And what are some of the amenities that you plan to include there? I know we touched on it in the article, but if you can elaborate more, like some of the services that will be there, in addition to the Lux experience.
Sure. The way that we're going to kind of stand out, most notably, the property will operate more like a members-only club, in that all guests that we call citizens, will be registered. And this is mainly for security reasons, but it also allows us to more clearly learn about our citizens, their likes, their dislikes, so that the Rome team can adjust entertainment and operations, accordingly. The next major standout is the scale. Rome is a large development. And that's why it's being built in actually 4 phases. And while I'd love to have it all done really fast, more importantly, I really want it done right, with a core emphasis on keeping the resort fun and entertaining, but also keeping it clean and really well maintained, which was kind of something that you hear about other resorts in the past, where people were always saying that they kind of fall off the edge after the first year of operation, and Rome definitively will not do that. Phase 1 will open with 7 distinct venue spaces, including 2 pool areas. We'll have 90 guest rooms, a full calendar of shows and events. And Rome is really going to capitalize on what I believe to be a great deal of quality entertainment that exists in the Tampa Bay region, most of which gets to be seen by very few people. Rome is going to have a rotational entertainment, which will afford much more talent a chance to be seen.
Excellent. And I remember from the sketches that we have and published in the article, it will have a complete look to ancient Rome, complete with full-size pools, columns. We will have a theater out there for like an amphitheater for plays, as well as venues for restaurants, nightclubs. So everything will be covered in there, correct?
Yeah, the resort is really centered around a core open space, which we call the Forum, and the Forum will have a very Romanesque, feel to it. Once you go beyond the Romanesqueness of the Grand Forum, you'll start to see a little more contemporary venues coming in there. I don't want it to be Disney-esque. I'm not trying to, recreate an Epcot pavilion, but I want to have a distinct feel, so that people, I want photos that will be kind of iconic,
Right.
that people will know exactly where those folks were.
Okay. And do you have a projected date when it will be open?
Yeah, we're targeting the end of 2022. We have basically a 12-month construction schedule due to start in January, which is exciting to try to pull off because when I first did, this is a fairly large undertaking.
Yes.
And I knew when I got involved with it that it was rather ambitious. Our real issue right now is the fact that due to the pandemic, construction costs are running 30% higher than usual. And so we have to be very mindful about what we're placing into that phase one, and moving a couple things into phase two, just to make sure that we're not, overly burdened, by the high construction costs. And of course, by the time phase two winds up kicking in, construction costs will probably be, returning back to normal again.
Okay, thank you so much, Thomas. We are actually in the final minutes of the show. It actually gone very fast. I want to address some of the questions that we have. This segues well to the first question on what the important business concerns are for the LGBTQ community in what remains of 2021 and into 2022. So I open the question to all three guests. What are the important business concerns for the LGBTQ community? Who wants to begin?
Well, John, I think,
Go ahead, Kevin.
I think the concerns for LGBTQ-owned businesses are the same for every business.
Yes.
And that is
Agreed.
businesses like the known. And we are in a continuing period of the unknown. What is inflation going to be? What are we going to see this winter from COVID? We talk about Thomas was just talking about the construction costs.
Yes.
What is that going to look like? So I think the biggest concern is the lack of stability and how to plan appropriately so that those businesses can continue to grow and to thrive. And how do they have the plans to look towards that? And most of all, to continue to be flexible to pivot, because we're going to continue to see times that we're going to need to pivot.
Yes. Does Thomas or Charlie want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's also kind of important that we look to support each other. It may, perhaps you can always get a slight discount if you go somewhere else, but if we try to keep, our energies within the same sphere, it benefits everybody long term.
Yes. And Thomas, you are still in the process of getting investors, correct? Is there anything that you need right now that we can help you with?
We just opened up. We segmented a portion of the funding to the community, so people can actually participate, rather than just the institutions getting, all the interest money. So, and if anybody's interested in that, they can contact me directly at either tomcarlucci@gmail.com or tom@theroamventure.com. I'm trying to keep everything as open, and I want the resort to really be community owned and operated. It's not really a private venture, as it kind of appears. It's really broader that, and I think as people really understand the grand scheme, they'll come to understand what the real vision is.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. I do want to get to my last question before wrap up. So, what can be done to strengthen support of the LGBTQ businesses, LGBTQ-owned businesses? Who wants to tackle that first? Kevin, we talked about the impact program a little bit.
Yeah, I think the most important thing, whether it's a entrepreneur who's starting a business, whether it's an experienced entrepreneur like the gentleman on the show today, or if it's someone who's getting ready to make a change, I think it's take advantage of the resources available to you. Advantages like your local chamber, the economic resources that are available, but also, and I think someone just said, taking advantage of your other networks.
Yes.
Who do you know, and who can you go to that will support, give you guidance, and be able to say, hey, that's a great idea. Have you thought about this? Or, hey, maybe you want to think a little differently about that. And I think those networks are what's so important.
Absolutely. Charlie or
True.
Thomas?
Yeah, no, I agree. We have such a broad range of people within the community that it's an easy draw, to pull people, to assist and to guide and to mentor.
Absolutely. And was that Thomas?
It was.
Okay, and Charlie, do you have a comment there?
Well, I think that right now, all across the board, diversity is so important, and just support for all of us.
Yes.
In every manner of business model. So in my world, the world of fashion, we want to support young, up-and-coming LGBTQ designers.
Yes.
and give them an opportunity where they might not have had that in the past, but also just show that our clients that come in all colors of the rainbow, all backgrounds, are just as beautiful as everybody else. And the goal is just to bring that concept to everyone so that we all are in this together. I think diversity is the most important in all businesses in the year 2022 coming up.
Thank you so much, Charlie. And that segues perfectly to a comment I wanted to add here as we do our 2-minute wrap-up. Kevin knows this. I had a meeting with Sherida Prince, who's the director of the Impact Program, only this past Monday. And we had a meeting with officials from the local college here at CF, College of Central Florida. Those that were represented there was Dr. Raphael Robinson and Marissa Brown of the Admissions and Recruitment Office, as well as Keith Bracey from the Equal Opportunity Center at CF. And the point was to offer opportunities in education for the marginalized groups of the population here, minorities. So African American, Hispanic, but also including the LGBTQ community, which I thought was awesome. So what they wanted to do was ask me to use my networks and expertise to connect them with the local community members here, like Ocala Pride Inc. and other social programs are online. So that it would be a way of helping the next generation.
Absolutely. Again, taking advantage of those networks, right, that we just talked about, and that they're both the formal networks and the informal.
Yes, sir. Okay, it's time to do our wrap-up. So that was a very fast show. We have like 30 seconds here. Does someone have something they need to let the public know about what they're working on or how they can be reached? Well, let's start with that. Thomas, how can you be reached?
Tom at theromeventure.com.
Okay.
Or Tom Carlucci or gmail.com.
And Charlie?
My Instagram is the best way to see what I'm up to, Charlie Lapson on Instagram.
Wonderful. And Kevin?
Yeah, as always, you can check out the CEP on all of the social media. Just look at Ocala CEP, or you can go to the website okalacep.com.
Thank you to all my guests, and thank you, Thomas, for the time today.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back after this timeout on WOCA, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
The number of border crossers and illegal immigrants being released into our country under the Department of Homeland Security is being hidden from Congress and the public. That's according to Senator Ron Johnson, the Republican from Wisconsin. Johnson is reporting that Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has given the senator no response to the October 19th request for the number of people who entered the country illegally. The Oklahoma Supreme Court overturned a $465 million lawsuit against drug maker Johnson & Johnson. In a 5-1 decision on Tuesday, the court overturned a lower court ruling from 2019, asserting the lower court wrongfully interpreted the state's public nuisance law. NASA scientists have issued a warning about a potentially hazardous asteroid that will nearly miss Earth on December 11th. 4660 Nearest shouldn't cause any impact possibility for at least another 100 years. USA Radio News.
Are you ready to retire? Inflation is picking up, markets